keep on forgetting, and it's kind of ridiculous because we've had a lot of people absent, and I should have done this forever ago. I've had AB figured out, but not BC. I'm sending around the t-shirt sweatshirt thing one last time because you guys were all over the place. And Gavin hadn't seen it, and Dean hadn't seen it, and that wasn't fair for me to put in the order. So one last time, if you want to add something, subtract something, change something, etc. I don't think we're going to make any price breaks, which is a little bit of a bummer. But we'll see. Problem is, you guys aren't getting any price breaks. My guess is in the 30s. For the quarter set. He was the most expensive. I can't have a price quote until we return the final number of items. And I can't that until I make sure. Okay, this is the review for the rest, aka Friday, which is, to be honest, where most of the points are. Thursday, there are points. Please don't underestimate that. My ones that have underestimated on the quiz we just did. However, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Please make sure everyone saw that. For instance, we just bypassed Kyrie and Lorenzo. This will be the last time. Whoa, it's huge. It's a packet. It's full of basically notes and hints and tricks and further details on tests that we've written down in our Endeavor cards. Dean and Gavin, I have these for you. The one that's not stapled. The one that's not stapled, you'll see them in your Google Classroom. They're both going to pop up in 2 different assignments, and they're PDFs you guys can always use if you don't have them on you. The not stapled one is the good practice one with answers at the bottom, upside down. For Thursday's portion of the test, after we take the Endeavor quiz, the fill-in Endeavor quiz of just, some people were confused yesterday, of just the new cards from the convergence and divergence, which your Endeavor cards are finally up to date. And that means that's going back to number 14, I think, geometric series. I think geo was the first one. Then we did P series after that, because that was a special and proper integral. Yeah. So Endeavor number 14 to 24. Kind of like a fill in the blank sort of deal to make sure you have everything. That's going to be on Thursday, and then the like multiple choice-ish portion with maybe a few like find the sum. But Friday. This is the review for Friday. What does this look like? A lot. Now, is it possible for you guys to do this many in one class period? No. But look at the directions. Determine if the series converges or diverges. Justify all answers. For alternating, give the extra pop-up box of absolutely or conditionally. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to tell you more tomorrow, and then I'll remind you again on Thursday if we have time after you finish taking that part of the test. Friday is going to be more problems than you are supposed to do. Okay? Friday, I'm not going to give you this many. I'm not going to give you like 40, but I'm going to give you more problems than you are supposed to do. Just put it on the front table if it's gone all the way around. Thank you. I'm going to give you more problems than you're supposed to do. Here's what would give you 100% on Friday's test. With a listing of about 20 sums, not 40, it'll be about half the size, about 20 sums. Can you look through and find me one to use the Geo series test on to make a conclusion, one to use the P series test? Wait a minute, you could just go in parting C order. Can you look through and find me a P series one that's legal to use and make a good conclusion? Can you go through and find me an alternating test? Wait, alternating might use other tests. Yeah, but you have to find one that's going to be your alternator and use whatever other tests as well. Can you find me a ratio root one? Can you find me a telescoping? Ooh, that's kind of look hard for those. A telescoping one. Can you find me an integral test one? Can you find me an nth term test one? Can you find me a geo? Can you find me a direct and a limit comparison? Now hold on. P-A-R-T-I-N-G-C-C. Oh, ratio root. Sorry, one ratio, one root. There you go. There's 10. I'm going to give you like 20. You only have to solve 10, but you have to solve one for every test, which means, do you know when to use the test? For instance, hold on. Let's look. We have like 1 through 46, right? We have 1 through 46. Can anybody find me a P series one real fast? 22. That's a great P series one. You can fill it in P series. Can anybody find me a good Geo one? 23. Yeah. 23 is a great Geo one. You can make that 1/5 all raised to the nth power. Can anybody find me a good ratio test? Oh, that's the one we just that's the one that's good for factorials. 2, maybe? 28, maybe? I saw 8. Oh my goodness, okay, there are lots of factorials. You just have to do one though, right? Now you don't know which factorial ones I'm going to give you, so maybe the more practice the better. Maybe do a couple of each. But do you see what I'm saying? Now, here's a bit of a dilemma. What if you've already done P series and you need to do an integral test? Could you do number 21 as a P series? Yes. But what if you've already done P series? Could you also do 21 as an integral test? Yes. Wait, could you also do 21 as a limit compare? Actually, that might be kind of awkward. I don't know if you want to do that one. You could technically do a limit comparison and then use P series. That's kind of cheating, but you could. You could. You could. Wait, what's a good nth term test? What's a good nth term test?
18.
18, because the limit is infinity. That's a fail. Hey, how about 40?
Gorilla?
Oh, that could be Geo, but that could also be nth term test. Ooh, interesting. Hey, what about alternating? 39? 39's a good alternating. You might have to use a limit comparison as you do the alternating. Actually, you might not. 42 is an alternating. That's kind of weird. 16 is an alternating. Ooh, but that's a factorial. But actually alternating, we just need to show steps 1 and 2. Oh, but for conditional or absolute convergence, would we want to do that for number 16? Yes, if we use the ratio test also. No, if we want to use any other test. So guys, here's something for you to realize. What I'm giving you is testing you in a few different ways. Number 1, bless you, can you look quickly and make a deduction as to what test to use? And can you show me that you know how to use all the tests? But also, can you be creative? So even if your brain says P series, can you also use an integral test? Or if your brain says integral test, could you also use a limit comparison? Some of them, the answer is no. Number 18, there's 1 test and 1 alone. It could be really awkward with some other ones. But 18, pretty much, there's 1 test and 1 alone. It's nth term and that's it. But others of them, you might have more than 1 test. But the problem is, I need 10 unique problems. 10 unique problems. So you can't like choose one and do it 5 different ways and be like, So Friday, why am I giving you 46 different problems? Or technically it's more kind of like 44. To give you plenty to choose from, to go find a P, to go find an A, to go find an R, to go find a T, an I, and a G, and a C, C. Does that make sense? Thursday is like the other one. It's the multiple choicey stuff and maybe like the find the sum stuff. But Friday is that I'm going to give you a bunch of little sigmas and say, go find me 1 for each of the tests. And something like alternating is going to use alternating tests, but then when you do it conditional or absolute, you're going to have to use another test, but it can only count for 1. Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to talk more about that because every year I have someone who gets Friday's portion and they frantically are doing all 20 tests without even considering what tests they're using, or all 20 problems. Number 1, you're only supposed to do 10 problems, not 20. And number 2, you only want to find 1 per test. So it's really sad when I have to like take off points because I'm like, well, you did great work on 20 sigmas, but I only can find 7 tests. Does that make sense? Okay. Lorenzo. Nope. Because I want 10 that's done really well instead of 20 that are hastily done, even if they're done perfectly. And the big thing is I want to see all 10 tests. I don't necessarily want to see repeats. Does that make sense?
If you got 10 tests already, and do that extra.
If you do extra, I will grade it in the order of the first P series I find, the first Geo, the first alternating. I go through parting C. I'll go through and just grade the first one unless you have decided and crossed out something for me to ignore. So you can try all 20 and then pick your best 10, but you have to make sure that those 10 all show a different test. So my advice is to put parting C up, and every time you do one, just put a check mark and then go looking for the next and put a check mark. Or if there's something like an integral test, you're like, man, I only want to take an integral of something easy, then you might want to kind of like strategize and put your P and your A and your R, and then make sure that you have one for everyone, and then go ahead and do it. You guys can kind of see on the back page, I have the parting C somewhat written out, except this one, the R, you should do the R/R, ratio root. And then the C, you should do, oh, it says direct or limit comparisons. And then in here, there's just some extra, I've given you one form of the test, but these ones tend to give a little bit more information or a little bit different information, which, Joe, I haven't looked at that one that you were wondering. Was it alternating? It was alternating. I think my best answer for your justification on that one about the nth term test versus the was it alternating? Yeah. Is that you could use the nth term test by saying the limit does not exist, because if the absolute value limit is anything other than 0, which would fail condition 1 by alternating series. This is what you already said. You can fail condition 1 by saying the limit is some number other than 0. But you could also say nth term test, the limit does not exist, because if you're alternating going to anything other than 0, you can't answer it with the number, but you can answer it with the end. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I was to actually put down by nth term test, I couldn't say like, oh, the limit's 1, not 0. I'd say, no, the limit does not exist because the limit of a sub n is 1 with the alternator. That doesn't go. Sorry, other questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are you gonna like list out the test like,
I'm giving you like a list of 20-ish sigmas, and you're knowing parting C and having or forming a strategy yourself with each one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's actually your test review. I don't know, well, but you don't. Like, some of these are really hard. Like, I'm hoping as you guys are looking at these that you find ones, like it's ridiculous to do that one, I'm going to skip it. Because some of them are really hard. You can actually, there are convergence and divergence, just like there are derivative calculators and integral calculators. They're like through Wolfram and other things. There are convergence calculators. You can throw in any series. You can just Google it, and then you will know whether it converges or diverges. They don't always necessarily tell you the perfect test to use, but there are convergence calculators that will tell you convergence or divergence of any of these 44. I don't necessarily like the idea of forcing you to do all 44 because that's a lot, especially with the 2 reviews I'm giving you. So instead, John, let me do this. I will have this be our Chapter 9 OT bonus practice test. But you just need to do what I'm asking of you on Friday, which means find 10 and justify that. Is that cool? And then, Joe, I mean, that could be your strategy. Like, you could go through and do the P series, do the alternating, do the ratio, do the root, and there's your parting C. Or you could kind of have the parting C off to the side, or you, like, put a P, put an A, put an R, like, go through and pick which ones you want, and then solve. Like, you can kind of form your strategy by literally treating this as a practice test for Friday. So, not 44, let's say 10. But, since you don't know which ones I'm giving you on Friday, and they're not necessarily from this sheet, would it probably be smart if you even did like a couple for P and a couple for A? Yes, but I'm not going to force you because I'm not sure if there are enough of every single time. Is that cool? So make it the practice test bonus, because literally you could treat it like a practice test and go find me 10. So let's make it not like a I want to kill you, but I want to actually help you prep for the test. So I'll go ahead and change the Chapter 9 OT review, which is the second one, the longer one, the stapled one. I'm going to change that on Google Classroom to be your practice test bonus. And this one with the answers on the bottom, and they're mostly multiple choice, is going to be the actual test review. Sound good? Which means there's no like book review. It's just these 2. This one's on Friday. This one's Thursday after the fill-in endeavor. Is that cool? And the nice thing is, think about how many points that is so that it's not one of those tests where you miss one and you have like a 90. So that's good.
Okay, so let's go back to section 9.56. Thank you. 9.6 ratio roots. We got some stuff done yesterday, not tons and tons, but we got at least the test written down and we got some examples done. And you guys just did a great job of me asking ratio tests, and you're like factorials, ding, 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 ding. What I didn't ask was no. The root test. Can anybody find any root test ones before we totally put it away? Because you're going to have to find a root test one. Can you see any root test ones? 23 could be a geo, but it could also be a root test. 23 could be a geo, but it could also be a root test. How about number 15? Number 15 could be a geo or a root test. 44, it's alternating. Oh, yeah, it's alternating. That would be a great geo, because geo doesn't mind positives or negatives. Root test, double check. I think root test you need positives only, yeah? Yeah. So it'd be a great geo, just a bad root. See, there's some overlap. Okay. I gave you guys the worksheets because I know some of you guys tend to sometimes get bored, especially if you've started your homework early and it's made sense. But others of you guys, you've started homework early and it hasn't made sense. Or you just haven't started practicing yet. So maybe we should do some extra examples for you, especially since that homework 9.6 is due tomorrow. Okay? Homework 9.6 is due tomorrow. The review for Thursday is due Thursday. The practice test for Friday is bonus technically, but I strongly advise for Friday. Is that good? Alright, I'm going to play. If you want to play with me, cool. And if you want to work on review homework because you know all your tests perfectly, okay, cool. But number 60, we're trying to think of what would be a good test to use. Number 60. I'm not sure this is directly out of homework. Maybe some of you guys can check it. Or if it's just examples that I kind of stole from here, there, and everywhere. So what would be a good test to use? Let's pick one. What do you guys think? Root or ratio? Okay. So if we're going to do the root test, how does that one work? The root test, we're supposed to take the limit as n goes to infinity of the nth root of what I've got. Remember, the nice thing about ratio root is you're not picking something out of like thin air. Not literally thin air, but you're not picking some other function like comparison test. You literally get to use what's there. Take the nth root of 2 to the n. That's nice. All over 4n squared minus 1. Oh, that's not. So as we're thinking through that, we have 2 over the nth root, which if you want to rewrite, we can, because maybe some of you realize we can't exactly simplify the nth root. What happens if we have the power approaching, or n approaching infinity in the power? Bottom wins 0, right? But what happens if we have 4n squared minus 1? Infinity. Infinity to the 0. Can we do that? We could yesterday with n to the 1 over n. We could yesterday with the n to the 1 over n. We can't do this with factorials because we can't use L'Hopital's. We can do this with any nth root technically because we can do L'Hopital's. But what would L'Hopital's entail? Can I apply L'Hopital's right now and take the derivative of the top and the bottom? But what could I do? Wait, why am I subtracting? Limit properties, right? Okay, so taking ln of the limit I'm trying to find, so I need to do an e to the power of at the end. I took an ln of that entire fraction, which is ln at the top minus ln at the bottom. What's the limit as n goes to infinity of ln of 2? Just itself. But how do I do this one? Well,
do I finally have a L'Hopital's? Yeah. So I could go ahead and do a L'Hopital's because I have an infinity over infinity of this part, and I'll get back to figuring out what's going on over here. I'm using some limit properties to split up, taking like a sum and difference sort of dealio, limit of the first, limit of the second. I end up with 1 over u times u prime, and then that guy's just going to be an over 1. So I'm going to end up with, that's fine. U prime is 8n for n squared minus 1. What does this end up being? 0, right? Bottom wins. You can do infinity over infinity and do L'Hopital's again, but either way, that whole thing is going to approach 0. That's good, but what else do I have still going on over here? What's my actual limit? What's the dilemma about what some of you guys would have said over here? Because what's true about infinity to 0? What did we see? Okay. So as long as you have been really careful, it would have been okay to generalize the n to the 1 over n idea when talking about polynomials, but be careful. But be careful. I do not feel confident saying that any infinity to the 0 is always 1 without further research. But as long as you're careful, this one would have ended up being 2 even with your generalization of the n to the 1 over n idea. I'm just, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with saying that's always true. I'd feel much safer being able to do a L'Hopital's. But hold on, what is 2 in comparison to the test that we're doing, which is the root test, right? Some of you are looking at your 9.1 to 9.3 quizzes. Would you have said since a sub n's terms are positive? And the limit is 2, which is what's ratio root compared to? 1. This is greater than 1, right? What happens when my limit is greater than 1? Yeah, a series. What's the dilemma with number 5, though? Alternating, wait a minute, I don't just have positive terms, unless alternating can be which 2 adjectives? Conditional or absolute. Is it a strategy that sometimes we could look at the absolute value? We're testing for absolute convergence if we look at the absolute value. Now, not necessarily if you want, you could put your pencil down and be like, I don't know, because it could fail, and we could have to go back and just use the alternating series. Some of you might want to use the alternating series, which is fine, because that would probably be, you have to do at least one alternating series on the test on Friday, right? Alternating series, all we have to do is look at the nth term and say, hey, what's the limit as n goes to infinity? What wins, guys, top or bottom? Bottom wins, therefore, is that 0? Yeah. So for alternating, that's good, but what else has to be true for alternating? Is this true or not? If I add a plus 1 under a square root and add a plus 1 in the denominator, is this always going to be less than this guy? It's tricky, right? It's tricky to know. You could start plugging in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Please don't go taking derivatives and trying to see if it's strictly decreasing. I'm not a huge fan of that strategy unless you really, really, really want to be safe. But long story short, yes, it will be decreasing. Long story short, yes, it will be decreasing. So therefore, does this converge? The answer is yes. And so if I'm just asking convergence like in a multiple choice question, converge, you're done. Move on, move on, move on. If it failed one of these, it would diverge by the alternating series test. But the problem is, if, like in the directions of your Friday practice test, I say for any alternating, go ahead and qualify it, don't you have to look here? Okay, so if we have to look here, we know they converges, but which type? Okay, eventually we have to identify the type. If it diverged, we'd be done, but I'm just going to rewrite it first really quickly. So I know you're already doing the analysis. So we have square root of n all over n plus 1. Could we try to use the ratio root test? The answer is yes, but to be honest, since we're preparing for a test, is there a better way? I would think limit comparison, because I could try to make the degrees at the top and bottom tie, and if I can, by multiplying, remember multiplying by the reciprocal, if I can compare to a function that makes the degrees tied, my limit will be a constant. The constant will be greater than 0. What one does, the other does. Right? So what would be a good one to compare in order to try to make my limit? To 1 over the square root of n. Right? Technically we should throw a sigma in there. We're trying to have proper notation. So if I'm comparing to the sigma of 1 over root n, we know that what does that do? Diverges by? Okay. Do you guys see that? The analysis of this problem is not done, and so far we are about to kind of use 3 different tests, alternating, p-series, and limit. What are some of you really going to hope I say yes to, which I'm not going to say yes to when the test on Friday? 3 for 1, right? You're doing the alternating series test, and you just happen to be using a p-series and a limit comparison at the same time. Now pause. What if you already have your alternating test accounted for? Could you do another alternating, and instead, maybe you circle and say this is my alternating, or maybe off to the side you put an A for it being your alternating from parting C. Could you do another alternating and have it count as a p-series? Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind that. You can do more than one alternating and have it count for different tests. But I'm grading 10 problems. Does that make sense? Looking for 10 unique tests and not counting one problem for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Oh, limit. Now we have r square root of n all over n plus 1 multiplied by square root of n all over 1. My degrees are tied. My limit is 1. Which is greater than 0, so what one does, the other does. So I can say, therefore, by the limit comparison. So as you guys are doing section 9.6 homework, if you haven't finished it yet, I don't necessarily need you, unless you're like really stressed for Friday, running out of tests and being like, I have to use a root test and I don't know what to use it on, I better use it on this. You want to find tests that are ideal to the one that you're solving, and you might get to where you're like, I have to do a geo and I can't find one. Okay, go back and steal the one that you did the root test, make it a geo, and go do another one for root. You might end up with like a unique situation of not using the ideal test. But otherwise in homework, you don't necessarily have to be using ratio root for every single problem. Okay, you have all of parting C to be using. I don't mind if you're kind of mixing it up a little bit based on the problem. What else do we have? Oh, there you go. So let's just do this one and be done. Sound good? I want you guys just kind of work and collaborate. And if you guys have questions on homework already, I mean, I can help. I don't mind. What do you guys think? Ratio or root? Yeah, I think root would be the easiest, but let's say you've already done a root one on the test and you need a ratio one and there are no factorials. Pause, there are going to be factorials. But just for argument's sake, do we have to always use root tests? Could we use ratio tests? What does ratio test say again, just so I can review and use it one last time before sending you guys loose? Limit as? I need the n plus first. Divided by, which means multiplied by the reciprocal of the n.
Do you guys have in that like list of 40 something that had like an addition and an exponent? I think it was number 8. No, number 15. Do you know what to do when there's a +1? Do we say degrees tied and the ratio is 1? No. What's that addition in the exponent actually translate to? 2 times 2. Would you have made the mistake or would you be okay? Just using this to remind you. Would you have said that the ratio was 1, so the test fails, or would you have actually realized, no, that's 2 to the n times 2 to the 1, 2 to the n plus 1. Those ones can reduce. These ones, the degrees are tied, but what's my overall limit? 1/2, which is less than 1. That makes the conclusion, whereas I couldn't have otherwise. And I would have had illegal math down, which you guys know I have to grade like the AP and say, oh, even if you end up with the right answer, something illegal is there to copy something. So therefore, by the ratio test, since the terms are positive, the limit is less than 1, I can say the series. There are a lot to keep straight with our tests, yes. But have I hopefully been annoying enough by writing these tests out over and over and over again that we don't have that much memorizing for the actual tests themselves? I hope so. But what is it now up to you guys to do? Practice. And if you get stuck, reach out. Okay? So what can you practice on? You can practice on homework. What else can you practice on? You can practice on the reviews, either way. My strategy, though, would be practice on the multiple choice one to kind of build foundation and understanding, and then move on to the 1 through 40, picking out 10. U is on the bed. Du is 1 over n, and then u to the -2. If you guys want to borrow my single book, I'm going to project my 9.6 up on the screen because you guys have some extra time. Not tons, but a little bit. My people with questions, go ahead. What's up? Oh, we're stretching. Were there questions? Yes. Remember which one? 20?
No, 3.
On which side? The 12 side or the 8 side?
12.
I slept like 12 hours, and it's the worst I've ever felt. Like, it's out of the line. In fact,
Iris, you're not gonna like it? Oh wait, no. Yeah, you will. I would do a limit comparison with 1 over 3 to the n. Because then, when you multiply by the reciprocal, the degrees are tied. Because I have 3 to the n over 3 to the n and 5n over n. My limit is 5. My 5 is greater than 0. What one does, the other does. And 1 over 3 to the n converges by geoseries. But the other way is probably, I think ratio test is the next easiest. Try ratio test and see. Go carefully with simplifying. But yeah, I think ratio test is the next easiest if that was too confusing. Check it out. I'm willing to go through it, but I think you just need a point in the right direction, maybe. Oh wait, guys, the PDF is online. What am I doing? Why am I opening up the book? You guys can access the homework problems that way. Hello, Santa. Let me go ahead and get in here and change that practice test that's showing up tomorrow as bonus.